Welcome back to another round of Spudventures. We are back again in Traveler with Murder in Jumpspace, Session 2. So it's time for me to throw over to Winged Cat.
Heyo. So, given where we left off, I should note that I consider bringing up that Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes bomb defusing game that's been going around. I figured that might be a little too distracting, too on the point for this scene, though.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because of the whole antimatter thing, right?
Right. So, again, before we begin, quick refresher, where is everybody at the moment the antimatter is discovered?
I might need a reminder, because I don't quite recall exactly, either in Stateroom A or in the medical bay, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Stateroom A at the terminal since I'm the one that found it.
Okay, let me rephrase then. Everyone declare where you are right now, and you can be in either of those two locations or anywhere else that you can justify, but let's establish where everybody is right now, and if everybody's in Stateroom A, that's fine.
Stateroom A? Because I was examining the body or something?
All right. DragonBard, DreadPriest?
I was just finishing placing my bugs, so yeah.
And last I recall, I was carrying supplier to the med bay. So
Okay, so the two of you are in the commons area, and you can see into the med bay. So the two of you, as the other two are discovering this antimatter, see Cran walk into the med bay, and you don't hear anything. Their lips don't move, but they're obviously Cran and Cherry are obviously talking to each other, just with expressions and gestures and hand holding. And you're not sure what they're saying, but they're obviously talking to each other.
Just a second. I think DragonBard was actually in Stateroom A because I think he was like next to me as I was doing it. I was doing the...
Yeah, I think I just placed the bug in Stateroom A.
Okay. In that case, only DreadPriest character Davven sees this.
Refresher on the two characters you just mentioned.
I'm trying to find the list.
So Cran is the pilot and Sherry is the medic and engineer. They're basically the under Merc, the captain.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while. We should probably reintroduce things a little bit. Do a bit of a recap.
Okay, so here the four of you are on this liner, this kind of yacht going between Rope and Regina star systems. You're in Jumpspace. You are in a parallel universe that allows you to go faster than light in the real universe, but you're also completely cut off from everything outside the ship. And there's been a murder. And you're trying to find out what's going on, who killed this guy, or this centaur, really. His grieving wife seems to be emotionally shutting down, and her species is known to die when all alone, and, well, she is now basically all alone unless she can get some major counseling or adopted family or something like that. So you're investigating to find out who on the ship may have murdered the guy, and while you're checking out the quarters, you find there's antimatter in their cargo. A ton of antimatter.
How much and how is it stored?
Okay, so tons in travel is ton usually volume, 13.5 cubic meters, a displacement ton. That said, it's close enough to a metric ton, 1,000 kilograms, plus or minus, and depending on if you're including the containment gear and so forth. There's what's called a penning trap, which is basically a magnetic container for the antimatter. That said, there's enough that, like, even a few grams, probably not even that much, would vaporize this entire ship.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got a whole ton of it.
An entire ton of antimatter.
Right. Now, keep in mind, the Third Imperium, the setting in which this whole thing takes place, has few laws that apply to interstellar commerce. No lack of slavery is one of them. They frown very heavily on slavery. Anti-personal possession of weapons of mass destruction is another one. That usually refers to nuclear weapons. Antimatter is very thoroughly black market. It is also expensive. It is not quite as expensive as it would be on modern-day real-life Earth. It's still rather expensive enough, even with widespread fusion power, that it's not practical for everyday use. And Newbiespud, aka Lad, you in particular have enough commercial experience to know that antimatter in this quantity is one of the most credit-dense trade goods there is, despite, or in fact because of, its illegality.
So what?
So
what was it doing here? And
go ahead.
Sorry, just musing aloud. Go on.
So people carrying trade goods from place to place is pretty common in this universe. There are, in fact, many ships that are called traders that just pick up speculative cargoes, move it along, and that's how main travelers make their wages. It is for nobles to be carrying some trade goods among their cargo. Carrying this as a trade good seems kind of off, but you can see it. And that is consistent with all the labeling. It just happens to be this fantastically expensive trade good that, by the way, could blow up this entire ship. And is also thoroughly illegal.
I'm assuming the captain allowed it, seeing as it's on the documented list.
You are not sure if the captain has even seen this list.
Well, someone allowed it.
Yeah, someone allowed it. And probably there are some bribed starport authorities back on Roop. They're back on Roop, though.
Yeah, and I was able to establish that the captain has been running a private, no questions asked service to those who can pay for quite some time.
Yeah.
So he just lets whoever put whatever on his ship.
As long as they pay the price.
Well, given this ship bad review, I guess.
Well, let's get out of here first.
Shouldn't we, secure this thing in case someone, crazy gets an idea to... I guess there's really not much we can do until we land, can we?
Well, hopefully no one else knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to inspect the cargo? The luggage is right there.
Julian will go up and very carefully examine it.
Okay. This, by the way, is part of why I wanted the ship map on the Twitch stream logo, so the audience can see Stateroom A, that little bit of light green in the top of the room.
Keep in mind that there's also an audio version that doesn't get to see the map.
This is fair. You check it over, and you have to peel back some very obviously camouflage concealing boxes, but inside you see what very much looks like it could be antimatter traps. Obviously, you're not seeing the antimatter itself because that's deep within containment within all of this.
Does its power source for the containment look good?
Self-contained power source. Not plugged into ship systems.
Whew. Good.
Yeah, that would be awkward if just, it was a wall outlet. And
Yeah.
That said, it does look like it is possible to pull off a few grams at a time. This is not one giant monolithic thing. It's a bunch of individual traps.
So we could vent them out the airlock if we wanted to.
You could do that, or someone could try to make grenades out of this.
Generally not introducing antimatter to a matter environment.
Yeah, basically all you need to do is shut down the containment, and it would probably go boom shortly thereafter.
And since Jumpspace, we're created our own pocket universe that is traveling with us, and we're in it, and it's filled with hydrogen. Dumping it out in the airlock while in jump space would be just as bad as detonating it inside the ship.
You're actually not sure. Nobody that you know of has ever done even theoretical analytics on what happens if you flush antimatter outside a jump bubble.
Well, it also have its containment on still.
Yeah.
I think.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, with or without containment, nobody that you know of has even looked at the application of antimatter to jump space.
Still feels like a really bad idea.
Yeah.
It's kind of leaning towards that just raises more questions and not going to go down that path.
Well, as long as no one else finds out about it, it should be fine.
Yeah, your intuition kind of speaks up that there's nobody that you know of. Oh, right, nobody that you know of has tried this and lived to tell the tale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all neat. The explosion just be neat and tidy in its own little pocket dimension where no one would ever escape.
Miss Jump.
Yeah.
So Julian's sitting here wondering why the intelligence service never got wind of this.
That's a good question.
And why is it in the Cree's luggage? Why them? Why here? Why now on this trip?
Those are more good questions.
Maybe they were trying to destroy the entire place that they were going to.
Yeah, this definitely feels like just a carry-on bomb, huh?
Or it explains how they were able to keep themselves funded so far away from their home.
That is also true.
Sectors.
It is both just a giant briefcase full of money and also a big post-nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Well, assuming they sold some of it to get the funds, then they would have had more of it before, and they still have quite a lot of it.
I've never seen a briefcase that was both money and a bomb at the same time, but here it is. We found it.
Yep.
Yeah, so the obvious answers are as to how it got aboard and all that, or either the Kukri were just that good, and between someone named Leaves the Horizon Behind and supplier to Horizon, or Leaves the Horizon Behind, you're pretty sure which one of them was involved in this.
Yeah, but that person is distraught in a very severe way.
Right, so either they were just that good or they had help. And if they had help, that would presumably mean that help is on board too.
Yeah, which would be the staff most likely, or unless they were working with one of the other groups on board. But most likely would be the staff, right? The crew.
Before this whole dark matter thing, antimatter thing came up, I was planning on checking everyone's cargo logs.
Yeah, do that. Spy on everyone.
Okay, so is that all you're doing in Stateroom A?
I wanted to try to do a full forensic sweep of Stateroom A with the goggles and see what can be found.
Okay, so give me a recon or investigate check. I think you've already done a sweep, but I'll allow one more sweep.
Yep, okay.
And this will be plus int.
Plus int. Got it.
That'll also help out, I guess. Let's see.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, even without the second roll, so you find the body. You're pretty sure it was not Sir Quattroco because this body was chopped up rather finely, so it would be someone with low strength who probably did this. That also rules Shuri out too.
Wait, so it was cut finely, so therefore it was someone with low strength?
Right, because this was someone with high strength would have just butchered the body and taken it as a single thing.
Yeah.
But so someone took their time to do this And why would they do it? The only reason you can think of is they were less than buff.
Well, also, like, trying to make a statement about preparing fillets of this Kukri to strike a terror statement. I thought that was pretty well established.
Yeah, this is a lot more finer than would be needed for that.
So,
and think about it, this probably rules Silea out too. Because Silea is a little buff. She would have been able to do it with less effort than you can see here.
I'm just not okay. I accept your reasoning. I just not entirely convinced that like strength and dexterity are mutually exclusive. In general.
Oh, they're not mutually exclusive. This was a matter of pure buff strength. So someone butchered the body so finely that and you can also see like there's dislocation between the pieces. So they must have been not able to carry the whole body, otherwise they would have.
You got to remember, Kukri we're talking size of,
they're centaurs.
Centaurs, the large horse size.
Right, so this is someone who could not carry a horse with an extra human torso. These are big.
Yeah, and I just did a Google. The average horse is 840 pounds minimum.
Yeah, so therefore it can't be someone that was strong because they would have chosen to...
So this was chopped up more.
They would have quartered it. They would have quartered it and then removed it instead of cutting it into much smaller pieces.
Yeah, so this was almost certainly one of the weaker people present.
Because if you take that amount of time in the stateroom without killing Supplier, why would you take that long?
Because you couldn't actually lift the whole body. Okay, or
exactly.
even heavy quarters of it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
See, that makes sense.
So it's someone who couldn't reasonably, well, unless they had a team, unless it was more than one person. I get even then it would still be very heavy.
So,
but I was under the impression that the important thing about them being cut very finely was to make a very macabre statement.
So, Julian,
possible.
Yeah, it's possible. So that's on the borderline. So of the 9 possible suspects, you can group them into the buff trio, the mid trio, and the not so buff trio. And this is on the borderline between the latter two groups, but is enough to rule out the first group.
I suppose. So that's the Aslan and Dame Silea.
And Shuri, yeah. So just for the record, so that's the buff trio. The mid trio is Talai, Albert, and Kron, and then the weak trio is Ruker, Zofada, and Maruk.
Mm-hmm.
So, seeing Julian checking out the room one more time, I think I'll do the same and investigate.
Okay.
I also want to look into those trees because you said they were.
Okay, yeah. So with the 15, yeah, I'll give you this. Yes, these trees are very obviously a quick-grown cutting of the trees over in the biosphere. Same type. These seem to be arranged more for decorative and shade. They're quite a ways away from being able to produce food or do any of the biosphere stuff. But this appears to be hey, they want trees into their stateroom. This is the quickest way to get trees in the stateroom.
And it seemed like there was less blood around the trees.
Oh yeah, the trees have been eating up the blood that they are directly exposed to.
Yeah, question.
Right.
Just, I think I got the names correct for the trio listing. Just double check.
Okay. Oh, what you post? Let's see.
Yeah.
I think Talai and Maruk should be flipped for that list.
Yeah, Albert's in the semi, and Maruk is in the non.
Can't believe we're sorting these people by buffness.
Also, Talai is in the mid, and so the semi is Talai, Albert, and Kran. The not buff is Rooker, Zofada, and Maruk.
Right.
This is actually what the adventure gives. It's one of the 2 major clue groups if you don't have anything else to narrow down whodunit.
Okay.
By the way, that extra +2 is because I was using my investigate program on my laptop.
Right. Okay, so the biosphere trees eating up blood is actually normal because they are designed to help process waste and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, shed blood is totally something they would recycle.
All right. Glad that's out of the way.
Right. It looks like Sherry, there wasn't any sign of a struggle, so whoever did it managed to catch him by surprise, and Supplier was just out of it for the entire thing. Deep sleeper, apparently.
So, could I access the other passengers' cargo logs from the terminal in A?
What you find is a minimal bit of information segregation. Each passenger's cargo log is only accessible either from the bridge or from their personal staterooms. Also, the stateroom computers are somewhat locked down. You would not be able to hack into the central computer from here. It's just you don't have access.
Okay.
The only place to do that would be from the bridge. And that seems to be a very deliberate security measure on the part of someone. Your guess is Kron. Or Kron.
The pilot?
Yeah.
You know, we've heard about him the least in all this.
Yeah? Yeah.
He's kind of kept his head down for a lot of this.
I mean, he has been piloting the ship, I think.
That is true. Well, I mean, we're going through jump space. It's you calculate it and it goes.
Yeah. This is correct. Once you're in jump, there is no more piloting necessary until you get out of jump.
You obviously want a skilled person to be on that and also to dock once you reach your destination, but...
Right.
Okay. And I also just want to clarify that I get the reasoning, especially when you consider that Supplier leaves the horizon behind was not kept asleep in any artificial manner, and so that would have been a consideration. But based on just the pure strength alone, I still can imagine given better circumstances, a strong person still would have gone through the trouble to fillet something finally. Just if the macabre spectacle was what they were going for.
Right.
So it's the consideration of time that helps me kind of more believe the reasoning here.
Yeah. Well, also, if it helps, Giamfia, you have solid evidence that the Buff Trio was not the murderer.
Buff Trio,
and you're pretty sure it was a single murderer, given the forensics you've just seen.
Remind me which forensics tells us it's a single person?
The forensics of how finely chopped the body was and how long it took them.
And I assume it's also fairly consistent.
Yeah.
So either someone with a fair degree of natural skill or someone with a jack. With a program on it. Who was the list of people who had a
Wafer Jack?
Wafer Jack, yeah.
That would be Silea, Zofada, and Albert. That you know of.
That doesn't include Cran, which is a little frustrating. But the thing is, obviously this would be a good time to start asking questions about who was where and when, but we don't have enough to catch someone in a lie.
Silea, Zofada, and the third, because I'm just making notes in the chat.
Silea, Zofada, and Albert.
Yeah. So let's start taking notes, everybody.
And I think Albert was wanted in that one place, and Silea and Zofada were also from there. You
don't have definitive evidence, but that's what the evidence suggests strongly.
It does seem like there's a bounty hunter chase going on here, yeah.
Because Albert was from that place, and Silea and Zofada were also from there hunting a bounty.
Well, Zofada was, and Silea is accompanying him. But yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So about this time, there's a bit of a commotion in the commons. Kato and Rukur are staring each other down. And Cottrell is growling at Albert. You did this. You wanted to do more experiments on that cuisine you keep piping around.
Oh, is the clan leader threatening the chef?
Yes.
Okay.
And the chef, the chef, Recur responds, I did no such thing. But you are just the kind of Aslan who would want to murder this guy to show that the kind of peace he wants can never be achieved.
I leave the stateroom hearing this, and I walk out, and I watch this for a moment or two, and I say, right now, nobody's under suspicion. We're still gathering the facts, so everybody calm down, please.
Okay, everybody, give me an investigate or recon plus Soch. Because all of you can see this.
Let's investigate 1 plus Soch a...
And I'll tell you, the target number is 10 or above here.
Can I use my investigate program?
Can you use your what?
My investigate program.
Absolutely you can. Okay, so Julian's the only one who sees slightly smile as these barbs are traded back and forth.
Who?
Sly.
The wife. So I'm assuming I'm in the center trying to break it up.
You are wherever you say you are, but you're within line of sight of this.
Okay. Julian is going to make sure, while that's going on, after seeing what he saw, will make sure that the antimatter is secure. And then
the antimatter is, well, there. Are you doing any measures to secure it?
Well, going to rehide it. And
okay, the camouflage is back up.
And then,
anyone who doesn't know it's already there would never suspect.
Okay. And then I'd like to get everybody out of the stateroom and close it and put a seal on the door.
You can close it just fine. Sealing's another problem. Sealing is a problem. The lock is busted.
Panel?
Okay, so
I'd like to take a look at that.
Does the ship's locker have a... Oh, what are they called? The patch kits.
You'd have to ask Cherie, because you don't have access to the ship's locker, not being crew.
So,
but first, Azure, you said you were looking at the lock?
Yeah, see if I can fix it.
That would be an electronics check.
All right. Just a moment. So, just general electronics.
Do you have an applicable specialty?
I have computers.
Close enough.
All right. Intelligence?
Yep. Actually, no. Education.
Education. Same bonus.
Yeah.
10.
Okay. You managed to get it. You think you managed to get it fixed well enough that you can lock it. Although, if anyone knows the passcode, of course, they can get back in.
All right. I assume the ones who know the passcode are the crew.
Well, the crew almost certainly knows. Supplier knows. If anyone else knows, well, that's their business. Your business,
Probably
obviously,
not.
but...
Yeah. The killer probably does not know the passcode, seeing as how they had to pry it open.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
So it should be fine.
I would still like to get... Sherry, can I please get a atmosphere patch?
What do you need an atmosphere patch for?
To seal the door as a crime scene seal.
Ugh. We ran out of them. We were going to pick more up on Regina.
You're flying without seals. Okay.
Yes. Roop was not good for a resupply. Regina should be. We didn't think we'd need any.
You know, I'm really starting to worry about the price of the ticket.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go check on supplier.
Supplier is unconscious, stable for now. What'll happen when she wakes up is another story, but right for the moment, she'll live for at least the rest of the day. Don't know if she'll survive the night, but...
God, could you stop? Honestly. That's super morbid.
This is how fast Kukri dies sometimes.
Anyway.
Okay. And we've established that the ship medical bay has no updated programs on Kukri.
Right.
Just out of curiosity, I'd like to see what species it does have programming for.
Humans, all the local varieties, Vargar, Aslan, and several of the minor races.
But not Kukri.
Not Kukri, given how far away they are. Also not Hivers, also not some of the other ones that you've heard exist far out in that direction.
Right. Just seems like if the ship was taking on Kukri passengers, the crew would have updated the medical.
We've already seen like 50 examples of how they've been cutting corners, because their cash flow doesn't come from being a great ride, it comes from hosting a bunch of black market traders and guests.
Apparently.
And cargo, and also being quiet about it.
Yeah.
Now, I have to wonder, are you going to ask Shuri about this? I mean, you have her and Cran. You can get them alone in the medical bay with a supplier who's unconscious and does not hearing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask if I can see the central computer.
The central computer?
Yeah.
Okay, Shuri's just... Oh, sure. Follow me. She and Cran head out of the medical bay, closes the medical bay and locks it, and then leads you down to the bridge.
All right.
And right as you enter the bridge, there is this big, imposing data bank, almost monolith, and it's just, here.
All right.
Would that be the 4 squares of gray?
Right, yeah.
Right in front of the door there, yeah.
She leads you around it. It not only serves as the main computer, it also serves as like cover and bulkhead, and you can see a few pistol and energy holes in the corners where they have obviously used it to repel boarders. And then around it, you see the main bridge proper with four consoles, 2 of which are accumulating a lot of dust.
Well, there's not that much crew.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious which one is Karen and which one's Shuri from the seat and the height of the seats. And then, yeah, Maruk obviously just doesn't use these stuff down here that much.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find the other passengers' cargo logs.
Shuri looks at you, starting towards the console, just, what are you doing?
I'm planning on checking some things.
What are you checking?
The cargo logs.
Why do you need the cargo logs?
To get a bigger picture.
You can get the standard security officer vibe from her. It's just, we don't pry into our passengers' cargo logs without good reason.
I think someone dying is good enough reason.
I'd have to get Maruk's okay on that.
All right.
And she's kind of imposes herself between you and the computer. She nods to Cran, and Cran hops back up the ladder to stateroom C. While this is going on, what are the rest of you doing?
Well, assuming that the argument upstairs has calmed down a bit,
it's calmed down to the point of angry glares, but they're not making many threats right now.
Julian, you noticed something, right?
Which would that be?
That's why I'm smiling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you tell the rest of us about this?
Not quite yet.
Considering you're still right next to all 3 Aslan.
Well,
Yeah.
fair, but...
And I want to find out... The next thing I want to do is talk to Cran about why they do not have an updated medical database for all their passengers.
Well, you're in luck because Cran pops right back up to the commons room right now, heading for stateroom C. Do you intercept him?
Yes.
Okay.
Cran,
Look.
why is the medical bay not updated with medical data for all of your passengers?
What? It doesn't have. Sherry, I love her, but she can space sometimes. This was the only Cree passage we've had for years.
Mhm.
I think decades, but longer than I've been on this ship.
Probably ever out here. But did they provide their own medical info?
Now that you think about it, they were being rather secretive about their info.
But that
Like they
probably
had
felt
something
like
to
par for
hide.
the course, right?
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of our passengers are less than fully forthcoming.
Yeah, I'm getting that picture. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Now, if you excuse me, I need to get Maru because there's a little disagreement with your friends downstairs.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so Cran rushes into stateroom C.
Stateroom C is the captain's quarters, right? Or
Yes,
okay.
and soon thereafter he emerges with Maruk.
I don't suspect Maruk, but boy, does he not run a great ship.
The two of them head downstairs, leaving the stateroom C wide open.
I look at Julian.
Absolutely, we investigate.
Okay. So stateroom C is, well, you're not surprised how messy it is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let me pull up the description. Easily the messiest room on the ship, this has been Murk's primary lodging for the past 28 years. He lived in the lower staterooms at first, deciding to reward himself for his struggles thus far. The closet is full of a lifetime of trophies, keepsakes, and important documents, which should be on the bridge. Should be, but they're in his quarters. Actual personal storage spills out in the stateroom proper. The wall next to the desk features an engraved grid of 480 boxes. You're not sure what they are, but it's very important to him. Almost all of the boxes feature an engraved check marks, or the knife used to make those marks is sheathed in the hilt in the desk. Okay, let's see. And that's most of what you see. The console here is unlocked, but apparently would probably only respond to Maruk. It looks like this console might be able to access a central computer.
I think I know what those check marks are, just out of character.
In character, you have a pretty good guess what they are.
I don't have a clue.
What was that about check marks?
Mortgage payments, 480 divided. That would be 48. Would be 4 years, one payment a month times 10.
So yeah, 480, and there's only like 3 boxes left unchecked.
Only 3 months until retirement.
Essentially, only 3 months until he no longer cares what reviews he gets.
Well, that tells us not a great. I mean, there's certainly motivation here.
Do you search the room at all?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, investigation or argue another roll plus intelligence.
I couldn't argue steward, obviously, but
actually, given what's at hand here, I would actually allow steward. Or admin.
Yeah. Sure, because it's all about how he's been taking care of himself, right? How he's been living, his living conditions.
Actually, it's a little more specific than that, and I'll tell you if you get the roll.
Okay. I will make a steward check, applying my expertise.
Okay.
And that's int as well, right?
Yes.
While Lad is doing that, I'm going to stand at the door to stateroom C, keep an eye on the access way,
make sure nobody
comes
gets in.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, in case any of the crew comes back.
Yeah, you catch Silea giving an eye towards. It looks like Silea has the same idea, but doesn't want to try to pull one against you, and retreats back to her room after seeing you're on guard.
Okay.
Okay, so Lad, you've seen important papers, and you have a sense of how personal storage gets. So you very easily pull open a desk drawer, in which you find insurance paperwork. Now, you're not an expert on insurance and mortgages and that kind of stuff, but you've seen business insurances.
Yeah.
So you're quite aware of what casualty insurance or disastrous occurrence insurance looks like, and yeah, this looks like that. Specifically catching your eye is any incident which would force birthing for a week or more.
Sorry, repeat that? Repeat that?
Any incident which would force birthing, as in force the ship to stay docked at a high port for a week or more involuntarily.
Oh,
and you can't help but
birth,
think,
B-E-R-T-H. Okay.
Yeah. And you can't help but think that, if this murder goes unsolved, and Regina is the capital of the sector, it is the most important imperial world for a long distance around. Hell yes, they've got investigation and law enforcement. Yeah, the investigation could easily force the ship to stay put for a week or more. And you eye the amount, and this would be more than enough to pay off those 3 last payments.
Wait. So there's a potential motive in an insurance scam in which the ship is held up outside of dock for a month because of a murder investigation.
Held up in dock, but yes.
Held up in dock. And
yes, that motivation exists.
And so the city would pay them out in exchange for the inconvenience of not being able to operate for a week.
The insurance company, that's exactly what it is insured for.
Unbelievable. I can't believe we found a motive in the freaking captain. And it's an insurance scam. What? Okay, well, I kind of motioned Julian over and gave him the rundown of that.
All right.
So apparently, if this could work out very lucratively for our captain, who really wants to pay off this ship once and for all.
If he was the one who did the murder, he'd have to be pretty damn sure he wouldn't be able to be caught.
Yeah, that's...
On the other hand...
Well, that's the thing, though. He doesn't...
On the other hand, with the way we've seen him running everything else...
The thing is, he wouldn't even have to get his own hands dirty. He'd just have to ensure that someone else did. And he'd just reap all the benefit.
What if the whole flight has been rigged as a murder for hire? And the captain is just providing the ship.
Yeah, that's a really good point. What if someone's bought him off just to provide the perfect location to murder someone?
Mm-hmm.
And that just makes him an accomplice. And which of course and he'd just be able to pay that off with insurance money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Stradivarian in the chat with a really good question. When was that insurance paper taken out? When was that insurance policy taken out?
It seems to have been about 8 years ago.
All right, so it's just a long-standing thing, but he can take advantage of it now if this works out.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a cosigner on it, Cran. It takes a moment to make out his handwriting.
So, Maruk and Cran know about this agreement.
Yeah, Maruk is definitely the captain owner. Cran is more there as a witness, and he signs on as piloted a ship, but no, this isn't my responsibility. I'm just witnessing this.
Yeah, so the one with the actual stake here is Maruk.
Right.
Is Maruk. So far,
as far as we know. But okay, so we can absolutely point at him as an accomplice to this.
Possibly. Or just really good dumb luck.
Yeah, this situation is too dumb to be dumb luck.
okay, so Maruk finally makes his way, led by Cran, down to the bridge. Just, what's all this about?
Real quick, just before that, I wanted to ask what was the state of the AI that I was dealing with before it up and left. Did someone steal it? Was it in a wafer?
It was a wafer, and it seemed to be self. It was self-sentient beforehand. It needs bodies to run on. But
okay.
So the background from this, and out of character, this is taken from one of the canon novels. So this part is kind of fan fiction on official Traveler lore.
Here we go.
Yeah. Agent of the Imperium is a novel. So there was this Black Ops project for a series of 5 wafers that got duplicated a bunch of personalities from the early Imperium for agents who would be able to be woken up in case of emergency and guide things through various emergencies. They were end of life around 1000, and it's now 1105, 105 years later. So there's this research project to, let's take these end of life things and see if we can get a little more life out of them, see if we can upgrade them with all the advanced technology we've had since then. And it was somewhat successful, among other things. You removed the barrier that said only a male human could do this. You could get it onto females, you could get it onto Vargar, you could get onto a few other species, you could even get into Ozlon. And then the wafer went rogue, and instead of serving the Imperium's interest, it came to see that the current brass of the Imperium, all the nobles, were acting counter to what it believes the true Imperium should be, and decided to go try to assassinate them. And it managed to escape hijacking bodies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
And here we go.
I'm assuming that it managed to convince the people that it hijacked to let it hijack them.
It had to trick them into installing it at every turn, but once it was installed, it just took over the body. And the body had no memory. You do know that it's got a 30-day lifespan. Once it gets into a body, 30 days later, it needs to be somewhere else, or it just gets rejected and inert.
All right.
So it's had to have a chain of bodies.
And so one of them is on this ship.
You don't think this AI has
Probably.
been able to replicate, so you think the one is on the ship.
Well, one of them is in one of the bodies.
Again, there was only one of them, but it's in one of the bodies, yes.
Yeah. One of the bodies in the chain of bodies.
Yeah, okay, yes. There was only the one wafer.
Yeah.
Well, there were more wafers that you could have experimented on, but only with this one wafer.
Yep.
All right. That all?
Yep. That's it.
All right. So back to Maruk. Maruk's just, what's all this about then?
I'd like to investigate the cargo logs for anything that might help in the case.
And why would you want to do that?
Because someone died and we should find out who.
And what would the cargo have anything to do with that? This is a murder. As you all saw, the Kukri's luggage was not messed with.
Right. But I just want to get a bigger picture.
My passengers pay for their privacy. Even deceased, I will honor their wishes unless I have good reason not to.
Anything that I would find, I would keep to myself unless absolutely necessary to the case. And I will not alter anything as well.
Well, of course you wouldn't alter anything. You're trying to find it, but what would the cargo have anything to do with the murder?
If anyone brought on weapons or, anything that might point to motive.
If we know their cargo, we might be able to get a picture of why they did this. A bit more, we might get to know is on. And what?
You broke up a little bit there.
Yeah, just if we know what's on their cargo, we might be able to find a motive.
Also, if we don't solve this, the authorities at Regina will.
Yeah.
Right, which out of character is going through your head. In character, you're not going through it. He doesn't know it yet, but Maruk is seeming a little obstinate and stubborn about this, not buying the reasons for why you'd want to check the cargo.
Can I roll persuade?
You can try persuade and soch. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. He just folds his arm and shakes his head. Yeah, out of character, he's got reason to.
Yeah. I don't know that yet.
Right.
So,
Julian, you want to just take this down and confront the captain directly? Since we know he's going to be in the bridge, and that'll be a private place to talk with him about this?
I mean, my next plan of action was going to go see Julian and see if he could hack into the central computer from afar.
Right. But if the guys upstairs are coming down to the bridge right now, then yeah, you can just, all the player characters and the crew would all be on the bridge if you want to do that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's time for at least one confrontation.
Yeah, except I'd almost want to have Davven, our ex-Marine, stay on the first floor, or in the upper deck, and keep an eye on things up there, so make sure nobody tries to get to Supplier.
Yeah.
You all right with that?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so everybody else piles onto the bridge. Maruk sees you going on. Humph, I suppose you're here to try to convince me to open up the cargo logs too?
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't do it now, it'll just happen when we get to Regina.
And why should I worry about that?
Because
you've got a motive.
Yep, they're going to find everything. They're going to go through all your records, all your years. They're going to have questions about why your cameras are disabled. Everything.
Yeah.
Your entire life will be an open book.
If you don't care about that they're going to go through the inventory later, why would you care about it happening now?
At least our only concern is solving a murder, so we don't have to keep flying with a murderer on the loose.
I would like to see this murderer taken to justice too. But my passengers pay for their privacy. I fail to see what the cargo logs would have to do with it.
I mean, the authorities are going to check anyway, and you claim not to care. So why do you care that it's getting checked now?
Do you think they have contraband or something?
Oh, possibly.
It's certainly possible.
Oh, really? Do you have any evidence for this?
No, but I have evidence that you would stand to benefit greatly if, say, your ship was stuck in dock for a week due to a murder investigation.
What are you talking? Oh, that insurance policy. And Crown nods in the background. Just, oh yeah, I suppose that would come into play.
Yeah, and the payout would be enough to pay off the rest of your ship.
Crown Managers told you, and then claps a hand over his mouth.
Cran, you have something you'd like to say to the rest of the class?
Shuri just hangs her head, hand on forehead, and shakes her head. Cran, really?
So tell me you're not an accomplice to this, who could stand to benefit monetarily for the goal you've been working on for allegedly 40 years.
I'll be honest, that told you sounded more like he was about to win a bet.
Yeah.
Cran shrugs, just, no, I am not an accomplice for a plan I've been planning on for 40 years. I've only been Maruk's pilot for 8.
I was actually kind of talking to Maruk when I said that, but...
Well, but Cran still answers anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
And Maruk's just happy to let him. You know, just, yeah, no, I wouldn't benefit. Maruk would benefit. But, you know, I owe Maruk everything. If he's happy, I'm happy. I'll admit to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the very least, we know him and none of you three are the ones that did the actual murder.
Yeah, but you could have just as easily set the stage and been an accomplice.
Yeah.
Prove it. Find any evidence.
Well, I've got the insurance papers here.
I mean,
The
you're
insurance
also.
an insurance papers were for long ago. I'll admit, I saw some hostilities coming. I didn't anticipate a murder, but I saw the possibility that whatever shape we would be in, we'd be waylaid at the end of this trip.
Wait, at the end of this trip?
Yes,
Out of,
once we get to Regina.
Why were you expecting to have problems at the end of this trip?
Come on, have you seen the mix of passengers up there? Someone's going to start an incident. Murder's more than I was gambling on, but someone's going to do something.
Okay, if you
out of
knew
character. Out of character, also the fact that the Kukri are not in the database.
So, if you knew that you were carrying a potentially explosive mix of passengers,
Emphasis on
why
explosive.
did you take on these passengers?
Maruk,
For the insurance?
starts up at that. What was that about explosives?
The passengers. You would say explosive group of
situation with the
passengers.
So why
No,
did you
and
take on?
Maruk interrupts again and points right at Lad. No, you didn't. You said explosive passengers. What's going on here?
He said emphasis on explosive. Which, yeah, all right.
Maruk shrugs and lets it slide.
So why did you take on this mix of passengers? You're the captain. You could have refused passage to any of them if you could have foreseen problems, and it'd be your duty to your passengers.
Maruk shrugs. Just this isn't even the most volatile mix of passengers I've had. Karan's right. Incidents like this do tend to happen. It's not my fault. I wasn't anticipating a murder. I thought it was just some noble knight tiff-taff something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you seen how that Aslan male treats his wife? I'm not sure they're even properly married.
That's normal in their culture. Don't worry about it.
No, I've seen normal for their culture. This is not normal for their culture.
Oh, how so? Maybe I missed something.
You guys know that slavery is illegal in the Imperium, right?
Yes?
Yeah. So I respect my passengers' privacy. If anyone wants to hack in, they have to hack in on their own. But I've seen merchants trying to pay their way out of desperate situations. That's sly.
Sly is a slave?
I have no evidence, and I am bound not to get any evidence. I am bound. My crew is bound.
So, if I were to ask the three of you to exit the bridge for 15 minutes, would you?
Sherry nods. Is just sure. Good luck defeating the security systems.
All right.
Face palms and sighs. Cran just chuckles. Yeah, that's my wife for you. Good luck with that.
And just nothing being mentioned about suppliers going to die because the Kukri data's not in the med bay.
Well, I'm sort of hoping it might be in the main computer and just didn't get transferred.
All right, so Maruk looks at the party. Are you making that request?
Yes.
Fine. We'll find something to do. Come on. Maruk, Cran, and Sherry exit the bridge. You see Cran and Sherry look at each other, kiss, and hop off to their stateroom. Maruk eye rolls heavily and heads upstairs. He has very obviously seen them pull this stuff before.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Well,
I have a few
Electronics.
years of learning computers, but
So this will be
One of you
electronics
has
with a
more.
computer specialty, straight up.
yep. No intelligence
a-
for education?
Intelligence and a very high target number.
Okay.
can we do it as a chain?
It's only 10.
I would suggest it doing it as a chain, which means everyone who's trying this roll, and anyone who gets high enough boosts the highest roll.
I mean,
Which is more flexible than how task chains usually work in Traveler, but I'm allowing it for this case.
So plus intelligence.
Yeah. The target number is 14.
So
Anyone else?
What's the skill involved?
Electronics with the computer specialty. If you only have
Well.
electronics, then you have the skill at 0.
Okay, hold on just a second. Aha!
You have
I'll
a
be right
program?
back. I'll be right back. I go to my stateroom, grab my computer, my portable computer, bring it back and jack it in. It has a Intrusion 2 program on it.
Yes, that will help.
I also have an Agent Zero in my stunner, if that helps.
Mhm.
That would.
Okay,
So how
I'll hook
do
that
I-
up.
What am I rolling for the intrusion to add that? Does that just
So,
add?
so you don't have electronics by yourself, or
I do
electronics
have
computer-
electronics. I have electronics computers 1.
Okay, so you're rolling that with, I believe it's a plus. You had an agent 2, right?
I have Agent 0 plus an intrusion program on the computer.
What's the rating of the intrusion program?
2.
So add a +2 for the intrusion.
Okay. Does
Did
that
you let
go
me
on
have
to
a
my
crack at it with that
computers?
too?
Yeah.
And then the intelligence as well?
Yep. This is a 14. You need every advantage you can get.
Okay. Here we go.
Hey,
Ah!
well, hey, there we go.
Like I said, every advantage you can get.
Just
Exactly
took a second
14.
to remember I had that.
No, seriously, the other day I was doing a roll and I managed to get 16 on 2d6. You better bet I was pumping the advantages for that.
Yep.
Okay, so
Let's see what I
yes,
got.
this is serious
I just got a
security.
17.
Okay, then. It is quite
Anyway, that
obvious.
was, just a
It is
test
quite
roll.
obvious that whoever did this, which is for Shuri, is definitely Imperial ex-Marine. You recognize some of their codices, and in fact, that's how you managed to break them because you knew how to defeat those codices. This is not something that normal civilians can do.
Yeah.
So, as in,
Advantages of being an ex-agent.
yeah, is you were specifically told. Most people think this is unbreakable. Here's how to break this.
Also,
Mhm.
out of character, I do have a data display receiver built into my eye, so it's one of those. If you want to relay data to me, that's how it can show up.
You're getting this on the terminal. All of you can see the data display recorder can presumably take text input from visual as well.
Or just relaying
Well,
notes
because
from,
I'm
like a mobile neural comm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still upstairs watching.
Okay, yeah. If you want to relay it that way, sure.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, you're in. The only guys with antimatter are Stateroom A.
Mhm.
Stateroom B has remarkably austere for a noble clan. A lot of financial data, and it doesn't actually have trade goods, although they are listed for a reference to Stateroom A's cargo.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell could they know Stateroom A's cargo unless they know?
They had a reference.
Yeah. A symbolic link is what is called in real life computer terms. Is a void in a kind of void in their manifest listing and what cargo they claim credit for, which void has a pointer saying, see over to these records that we don't have access to. Because staterooms B and A's or cargoes are blocked from each other.
This is saying that stateroom B.
The people in stateroom B, one or both of the people in stateroom B almost certainly know about the antimatter, is what this is saying. And they have some kind of claim over it, or had some kind of claim over it. it's shorthand, so you're not sure what's going on. On the other hand, which of the two in stateroom B would be doing mercantile shorthand is a pretty obvious answer.
Yeah, it's a lie.
Yeah.
All right. Stateroom C. Oh, that's just Maruk stuff. Yeah, it's basically what you just saw.
Mm-hmm.
Stateroom D. Pretty much what you'd expect. A lot of trophies, a lot of knives, a lot of supplies. Where seems to be, what it claims to be.
The chef is clean.
Right. Stateroom E's cargo is blank.
That's
Boring.
Albert.
Stateroom, which one?
Stateroom E, Albert's stateroom, has no cargo listed.
Okay.
And you can actually check your maps and see, oh yeah, that's right. Stateroom E, the cargo area is empty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He just has the clothes on his back.
And this is a merchant.
Yeah.
If anyone's doing trade goods on this ship, it should be the merchant.
Yeah.
And then stateroom F, that's kind of normal possessions. Some fancy frou-frou stuff. Silea at least appears to be living the life of a noble, and Zofata seems to be being dragged along.
Question.
Yeah?
Is there anything in the cargo area shown on the lower deck?
There is. Normal state supplies. A lot of the gear is kind of low. They're looking to resupply at Regina.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little more gear than you'd think, and stashed way at the back is a PGMP.
Is?
Plasma gun
boy.
man portable. The weapon, one of the signature weapons of an Imperial Marine, which civilians should not have this.
Yeah,
No.
Sharik Krasian. Yeah, we know she's ex-Imperial. Yeah.
And then
she
you also
took
see the cargo manifest for the regular staterooms,
Mhm.
and oh yeah, there's the battle dress in the closet of stateroom G.
Oh. Wasn't that what Davven was looking for?
Yeah. Just seeing that, because that was rumored she had taken it, and then making sure that she's sane.
Yeah. Well, it's there. There's some notes on maintenance logs and stuff, but it's certainly battle dress.
As I was actually a quartermaster and tech, I should be able to see if it's actually functioning at this point due to the log.
So you check the maintenance logs and you see it's not functional for some reason.
Mhm.
The actual reason why it's non-functional isn't recorded in the logs. But yeah, it would need some major overhaul before it could so much as move.
So, after looking at the cargo manifests, I want to do a search to see if there's any medical data for Kukri that was provided by the Kukri.
There is not.
What information did the Kukri provide when they came on board?
Very minimal. Basically, that there's a career and that they're providing, they're buying a passage to Regina and a map of their route all the way from the 2000 worlds far, far trailing. And apparently they were planning on being on Regina for some function and then making plans for where they wanted to go from there. Possibly to the very edge of the Imperium, although they're almost there already. Possibly start their route back home. It's uncertain. But yeah, no medical data was provided.
So, do you think we should bring up the antimatter to the crew?
You also see a to-do list for Cherie is import Kukri medical data.
Mm.
So yes, Cherie was told about this and apparently forgot.
So, why is this
Oh.
starting to feel less like a political statement and more like a heist gone wrong?
Oh, also you see in Recruiter's poison.
I'm sorry,
Small
what was that?
little poison implants about the size just right to fill a fake Dewclaw. Or hollowed out Dewclaw.
And who
Wait,
was that?
the chef?
Yeah.
The chef has a fake hand?
No.
Or a fake claw with poison in it?
No, but you've heard there are some who hollow out their palm claws, dew claws, for various things. So he may well have like a poison injector in there.
Oh boy.
Oh, man. Chef, I trusted you.
What does the poison do? Like,
It's a neurotoxin. It kills quickly.
okay, there we go.
Fortunately, the hollowed out claw would be a safe container for it, except for anyone it ejects.
So, just a reminder, leaves the horizon behind. Do we know how exactly he died?
He was butchered.
Right. But did it start off with him being...
So Rooker has given a description of how the murder could have been done using his knives. And all evidence suggests that someone used his knives to do this.
Yeah.
Okay. So, unseen. Okay.
There are a lot of shiny pennies in this case.
Yeah.
All right. So, with all this info in front of us, is there anything else we find in the computer?
You find confirmation of the insurance paperwork, but it's just there. Cran started service 8 years ago, and there are notes from Maruk's log that Maruk pulled him out of a raider situation. Apparently, Cran was one of these, lost his family, lost his job, lost his friends, lost everything due to some pirates going and bombarding the planet.
Okay, so Cran is going to be loyal.
Right. Cherie apparently popped up 4 years ago, and in that time has had a very busy term of service. She has indeed not only repaired pirates, but gone all the way and seized their ship, used that to pay for a wedding. There's notes in Maruk's log that Cherie offered to pay off Maruk's mortgage, and Maruk refused, apparently for reasons of personal honor. Notes that Cherie and Cran married during the past 4 years. Maruk is very, very pleased with their service.
So, okay.
You also find entries which would have contained the identities of prior passengers, all redacted.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did we get the name of that poison?
It's not actually written in the adventure, so.
Okay.
Let's call it ratatotoxin.
Okay.
What? Okay, sure. Okay.
All right. So, Julian is now going to secure a download of everything onto his hand computer. Turn to the other guys and go, well, I think the next most critical thing we have to do is try to assure the safety of supplier. She's sort of a critical witness. It's entirely possible that when she woke, she saw whoever had committed the act still in the room, and they escaped before anybody else was able to get up.
I kind of doubt that.
I also have doubts.
Yeah.
Especially seeing that the kitchen was
the way it was, except for one of the knives being bent. So by then they had already.
It was also entirely cleaned, just
True.
completely.
Yeah, she woke up and saw that body. She didn't wake up as the murder was concluding.
Yeah.
Still, if we lose both of them, that's gonna. We already have a diplomatic incident on our hands. I don't want it to get worse.
Yep.
So I have a medical wafer in my room. I think it's time to slot it in and see if it has any info on Kukri.
Fortunately, it does. It's more prepared than the ship is. Big surprise. Okay. And yeah, the diagnosis is pretty clear. In this kind of situation, probably is going to be psychological. She needs assistance with that.
Mm-hmm. And is there a recommended course of treatment?
Kukri this far out are not that commonly known, and also Kukri who lose their entire family, there's not much record of them surviving. However, what few measures have been seen to work are convincing them that they're not alone. One way has been convincing them to do an adopted family. Another one is to believe in the spirits of their ancestors coming along with them all the time, and measures such as that. There are also references to letting them go insane and become one with the grass, just going mad and eating grass and thinking the vegetables are their kin. That doesn't seem to be the best solution in this case, though. But yeah, the best solutions that are known of are adopted kin, or convincing she has an adopted family that will do, or as the Kukri say, one with the sky, believing in their ancestors, the spirits of their ancestors.
Okay.
So who's got good persuasion and social?
Yeah.
Nope.
Is there anything in there that would allow us to keep her sedated for the rest of the jump so that the Regina people can handle this?
Yeah, this is not ideal.
That actually seems possible. You'd have to check the medbay to see if they have the depressants and stuff, but they might. The medical bay actually seems to be somewhat well supplied.
Okay, I'm going to go up to the medical bay and request. Well, I'm going to stop and knock on the door.
No, there is no answer. Cherie closed and locked the door before she left.
No, to Cran's door. On my way up, I'm going to stop at Cran's store and say, "Can you let me into the medical bay? I might have a possible way to save Supplier."
There's a bit of a giggle at first, and then they hear "save Supplier," and it just stops. Silence. There is a rush of action inside. Lambs open the door. They're obviously very hastily just show me.
Is it Cran or Sherry?
Sherry. Cran is semi-naked in the back, still dazed, and Sherry is just action time.
Okay, yeah. I need into the medical bay and see if you have the right components.
Sherry's on your heels all the way to the medical bay. Lightning taps open the combo and opens the door. Okay, how do we save her?
Okay.
What did I come back to? I think at this point, like, Davven's just like, what the hell just happened? Just because basically he got shoved out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take stock in there and see if they have the right stuff to do this. And explain as I'm going along that I'm trying to formulate a tranquilizer, basically, to keep her asleep so that she does not go through a crisis.
Actually,
and in some kind of stasis so that,
Yeah.
Traveler has a lore item just for this kind of situation. It's called Fast Drug. Mm-hmm. And it's basically, Fast Drug and Slow Drug are opposite named of what they should be. Slow Drug is combat drug. Fast Drug puts you in coma for a month.
Yeah.
So Slow Drug makes everything else seem slow, and Fast Drug makes everything else happen really quickly.
From the standpoint of the person taking it, yes.
Yeah. And yes, they have Fast Drug.
Okay. And can we successfully use it with Kukri metabolism?
Yes, it's been tested on all, and I mean all, known sulfonts, except for a few robots and a few others. But yeah, it totally works with Kukri. It takes a double dose given how massive Kukri are, but yep, you inject it and she's in stasis.
Okay. That should keep her alive long enough for somebody else to figure it out.
A professional, preferably.
We have those in Regina.
Yeah.
Good. Don't have to have that hanging over our heads.
Okay, once the drug is injected and the metabolism stable, Shiri gives you a bear hug. This is muscle woman, very grateful, giving you a bear hug.
Ow.
Yeah.
Pass the buck. You know, when it comes to like suicidal depression, passing the buck to someone actually qualified to help with that is probably the right move.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ow.
Eventually, she lets you go before you suffocate.
If I may,
Thank
as
you,
a joke image for what
Shuri.
Shuri looks like.
Say again?
Joke image of what Shuri looks like.
Where?
Well, okay. Muscle woman who threw on some clothes at the last minute. Okay, yeah, that's close enough. That's close enough. She's a little more dressed than that, but yeah.
For those who can't see the image, look up Zap from American Gladiator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, after having his ribs slightly rearranged, Julian's going to go back to his stateroom, unslot the medic wafer, and take a bit of a breather.
Okay, and while that's happening, what else are you guys doing?
So out of character, I am very suspicious of Albert now because I suspect him not having any cargo makes me think that he's probably the puppet.
Yeah, and I'm kind of nervous about the chef having a neurotoxin claw.
Semi question marking the fact that Shuri has the man-portable fusion gun, and it's just like, okay, or plasma gun. It's just like, well, I'll pass that along, but
Shuri seems fine, honestly.
Yeah.
A little over-enthusiastic.
She's certainly in a stable relationship. That's probably that probably helps.
Mm-hmm. So just before I unslot the wafer, I'm gonna look up the poison that he has in his dew claw and see if there's any treatments for it known.
There are. The antitoxins would require ingredients not currently present, and they would have to be administered really quickly. But yeah. This is like military grade neurotoxin where, they researched it enough to know if you accidentally get injected, do this to a counter. And you didn't see the counter agent in Rooker's luggage.
Okay, so I'm going to send a message to Davven saying, yeah, don't get hit by this. With as much information as I can dump to him, since he's probably the one who may end up tangling with him.
Yeah, and I've got the intelligent interface in my hand computer, so it's pretty much just relaying the information, and then it's all on text, all on my HUD, so I'm able to see that and acknowledge it.
Okay.
All right. What next? It's getting too late in the day at this point.
Who's going to be able to sleep knowing there's a murderer still around is the thing.
Davven.
Okay, fair.
That's what door locks are for.
Yeah, door locks that were broken in by the murderer to get to stateroom A, if you'll recall.
They used a knife for that. If we keep an eye on the kitchen, it should be fine.
Yeah, who keeps an eye on the kitchen?
Well, I do.
Okay, fair, you've got the bugs, yeah.
I've got 4 of the bugs deployed. One's watching entrance to my room, the common area, one in the med bay, and one in stateroom A. So the common area one I put probably right outside or right above the
med bay?
No, right above where the what is that? The hatchway down below decks is.
Which one?
Yeah, there's 2.
Between A and B.
For the ship.
Okay.
Between A and B. So up front. So it watches down the hall so I can see, bits of the common area are blocked, but I can see all the doors with that.
Yeah.
And gonna task my agent to, run a simple program to keep an eye on that.
Speaking of, I was looking at the robot section in the supply collection, and theoretically, if we could homebrew build, we could have actually made alert bots for very, very cheap. But maybe for next time.
Hold on a second. Talai is potentially a slave trying to buy her way out. The Kree are carrying antimatter that somehow they know about. They die, potentially losing possession of that antimatter. She suddenly has a huge cash flow. If she can make it off the ship with that antimatter.
Brings up my earlier question of, should we bring up the antimatter to the crew?
I'm worried about that, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that should be just something everybody knows.
I have a feeling Maruk would not be pleased, seeing as how he reacted to the word explosives.
Yeah, that's the thing. I nearly gave it away there, and not sure how anyone would react, honestly. And
I assume Maruk would freak out.
Yeah. On the other hand, it might help flush out who might be behind this. But that would also mean knowing that we have to spend another 5 or 6 days with people who all know that there is a deadly, bomb and also money source on board.
Yeah.
It's actually, I mean, talk about, motives to kill.
Yeah.
I don't think we should tell everybody about it, because it's a very lucrative material that suddenly doesn't have an owner.
And again, out of character, the other two.
Sorry, you cut out there. What?
Out of character, Julian did notice that the other two Aslans, Fly was smiling when the other two Aslans were accused.
Yeah, that's the thing. Talai, and it was after I mentioned, figuring out who the killer is or whatever.
So she's pretty suspicious.
Yeah, very suspicious.
For the killer. And I'm suspicious of Albert being the body puppet.
Yeah, but if he's a subject of a bounty and he's on the lam, that could be a reason enough for that, right? That he's passing under a false pretense, and only enough cash to buy passage, and knowingly or unknowingly in pursuit from these other two bounty hunters, while he's got basically nothing because he just broke free of somewhere.
The question to me, and I'm assuming that we're doing some of this conversation on the net.
Yeah.
Is Albert the bounty, or is he an information source that they are following to the bounty?
Well, yeah. Yeah, he always struck me as someone who is, on the run, but he could also just be a weasel. A useful weasel.
We should probably talk about that with Cilia and...
Yeah, we might need to actually just ask about the whole situation with Cilia. She
is a knight, correct?
Yeah.
We might just need to get her on our side if she's friendly.
Also is Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not. See, like
Considering she's a knight and what I'm a knight and somebody else was a knight.
I think I might be a knight if I've got Sochet.
But you
Yeah.
said, I think you being a knight was rescinded with you just being famous because you didn't want to be a knight.
I think that Quattle's already said that he is a noble, and looking at
Yes,
Sir
right.
Quattle, he's a knight.
Right.
There's
That's
one
the whole
more
reason
knight-
he's on this thing, because he hadn't received that he thought he
Right.
was
There's-
entitled
There's
to.
one more knight that's not accounted for.
Who's the other knight?
Was it Albert?
No, he's just a merchant.
Is Zafata a knight?
Zavada isn't even an imperial citizen. So.
Right. Wait, so who among us is an Imperial Knight?
No, there's one more knight among the NPCs.
No, I'm trying to get a total count. Like, so,
Oh.
Is it
Just
Arthur?
Julian.
Oh, Julian.
Julian's a knight.
Julian's an Imperial
Yeah.
Knight. Silea is an Imperial Dame.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we could.
Tao.
Oh, right, yeah,
Sir Katarwoki. Woko.
yeah.
Was Rooker one?
No.
Rooker is not. Rooker is a celebrity. Just
Right.
like
Just like
just like
Lad.
that. Yeah.
So,
Cherie Cran Maruk.
if she was high enough level in the military, then it's possible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally just naming names at this point.
Right. You didn't see references that she was a knight when you looked in the database or in the computer, but then again, her history prior to being recruited was a little spotty in the computer records. So
So
All right.
then why tell us that there's one knight unaccounted for? How do we know that?
It's probably Maruk.
no,
Unless
so,
Cran was a knight before he got his entire planet killed.
right. So the Order of the Knights Imperial told you that there were this many knights on board and gave you a chance to
Okay.
find them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a hidden knight. Okay.
So
So all of the knights know that there are 4 knights on board, including them.
Not necessarily. You know there are. You don't know who else the challenge was given to. And the Silea and Sir Oko certainly didn't seem aware of this challenge.
mm-hmm.
I just assumed that all of the knights were told that there were other knights and that they should greet each other.
You assume that,
alright.
but that might not be the case.
Okay.
This
So,
is a lot of information.
I'm assuming we're getting close to a meal. There probably hasn't been any meals. We're probably all very hungry.
Rooker does busy himself preparing dinner at about this point, and it's a late dinner, so like shortly afterwards, you're going to be going to bed probably.
So
Obviously, there's not much dinner conversation unless you
Yeah.
bring it up.
yeah.
So can we look on the database to see who is a knight?
Which database?
Any database? All of them?
Specify.
All of them?
So the ship's computer didn't list out who was a knight.
Right.
Any other database other than ones you brought with you, you're going to have to get access to.
Well, I
Okay.
have one with me.
So do
We didn't
I.
have-
Okay, yeah, the ones with you don't have any information about the ones you brought don't have any information about the guests or the crew.
Right. Mine just had to do with. Yeah. Anyway. So what are the databases are on the ship?
The library.
Well, yeah, there's the ship's computer, there's the
Yep.
individual stateroom computers, and there's what you brought with you and any ones that the individual guests brought with them.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just go around and start hacking terminals.
Okay.
Except that everyone's at dinner right now. But in plain view of all the staterooms, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
During dinner, Julian is going to request a what do you call that? After dinner drinks, whatever the knighthood calls it, with Silea. Afterwards.
Silea looks up and just, yeah, sure. Yeah, you can have drinks with Vod and me.
Excellent. What did they used to do? They used to go to the smoking room after dinner. That type of thing.
I think the closest place to that would be the game room.
Right, so like, are you going to do the game room? You're going to do her quarters? What you going to do? Where are you going to do it?
Oh, yeah, the game room.
Okay. The mood is somber enough that, yeah, you're not disturbed as you go into the game room.
Mm-hmm.
She stands by the doorway as you all filter in.
All of us, huh?
Well, or who is going in there with her?
I'll
And
go.
was
Zavada's
invited.
there as well.
Well, I mostly just invited her and Zafada.
Okay, so any of the other player characters going in, or just you?
Well, I guess I could, like, maybe talk to, I don't know, Rooker or Hell to Lie if I get the opportunity.
Yep.
So
Once we're in there.
Okay, so you go in. Zavada's behind you. Silea holds the door for you.
Mm-hmm.
She closes the door, and still drawn and pointed at you. Who the fuck are you? No, seriously.
Me?
You.
Julian
You're
Skinner?
you're not who you seem to be. You've demonstrated that. Answers now.
Greetings, I am Sir Julian Skinner, former Assistant Director of Imperial Intelligence for this sector. Well, subsector.
You got any ID?
Pull out my ID.
Say
Good one.
stares at the ID, nearly drops her pistol, holsters it just, oh, thank goodness. Someone competent.
I try. So,
Agent Dame Silea Skirm, direct assistant, director reporting to Duke Norris.
oh, whew. Okay. That takes a load off my mind, too.
And my assistant Zizi, Zafada of the Third Empire. We've been working together on this case. You were briefed about the case, sir, right?
As I said, I am retired.
Figures.
So, you know,
We have reason to believe there was antimatter aboard the ship, sir.
Yes, that would be accurate.
You found it already. I should not be surprised. Where is it? How much?
Oh, just 1 ton.
It's about a ton. It's currently locked up in stateroom A.
In the Capri's luggage.
Yes.
Oh, that's how they did it.
Who do you suspect? Is that your primary mission here, or?
One of two.
Mm-hmm.
We are also after what's your security clearance? Or do you have the security clearance? Oh no, you're a director, of course you do. Yeah, so we're after someone who is here to assassinate Duke Norris.
Sounds like my guy.
Great.
Who's your guy?
Going on.
Oh, right.
The AI.
Yeah, the AI, yeah.
Okay, so we have a possible assassin, smugglers, and a murderer. Are you suspecting that the smugglers fell out with one another?
I'm not sure what's going on, sir.
It's a big old pile.
I noticed that you are friends with the other three who bunked downstairs. Are you working together?
Are you familiar with the incident from several years
ago,
prior?
It was 3 cycles,
When-
like over a decade ago.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be more specific, sir. There's been a lot of incidents recently.
The meat incident.
Yeah, we refer to it among ourselves as the meat incident, where
The
there was...
the Capri meat incident?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yes, we were all involved in one way or another
Oh,
in that incident.
do you trust them?
In matters of not wanting to kill Kukri, yes. In matters pertaining to smuggling or attempted assassinations, mostly.
Okay. As an agent of Duke Norris, I can deputize you. It'll take me some time. It'll have to be in the morning before I can get you the official paperwork and stuff. But I can officially deputize you as representative of law enforcement if that would help.
Let me think about that. We may have to.
Get back to me in the morning. I can prepare the paperwork, and if you decide no, then I can just trash it. I can proceed with the formalities in the morning.
Out of character, at least have record that this was said.
Yeah. Definitely prepare the paperwork. I just have to... I just retired, too.
I know, sir. Sometimes the universe is like that.
Yep. Okay. So, who do you suspect to be part of this smuggling ring? Or the antimatter?
Well, the Kukri, obviously, because it would not have been in their luggage without them knowing.
Right.
They had mercantile assistants. That's one of 2 people on the ship. Assuming it's not the crew. And I don't think it's the crew.
No, from what I've seen, they don't really care what their passengers do as long as it doesn't threaten their personal well-being.
Yeah, I can name 100 people I've seen like that.
Yep.
Mercantile assistance, so that would be either Tly or Albert.
100% Tly.
So
Yeah.
Tly knows what's in Stateroom
You're
A.
suspecting either Tly of the Aslan or Albert of the Vargar.
Albert. Is that what he called him? Oh, yes, of course. He was announced that way.
What's his actual name?
So I take it he's not actually Albert.
Well, that is an Anglican. That is how you pronounce his name. And here, his actual name is Alvarez Grubak.
Okay, that's right. You would be able to speak, what is it, that? Kveg? AQ? Lugasku?
It's their language. Zavada gives her a bit of a look at this, and she just waves him off at us.
I can also speak that.
Okay. So. Okay. So, we did discover we gained access to the ship's computer, which, by the way, had a very, very good Imperial software security package on it.
No surprise.
Yeah.
Sherry, presumably. She probably just pulled it in here.
Yes, she seems very talented, also very strong. She nearly bruised some ribs.
She was engineered that way, you know.
That explains so
the
much.
pieces fall together.
Yeah, engineered to be a battle maiden on her own home world. When the Imperials put an end to that, she went and joined the Imperial Marines, and then kind of burned out on that. So here she is.
Okay.
Apparently, she's very happy with her circumstances here.
Yes. By the way, just so you know, there is a PGMP in the back of their storage.
Because of course there is.
Exactly.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. So when we got into the computer, we did discover something interesting.
And that is?
That there is a note under Stateroom B, the Aslan's stateroom, for Sir Katoaloko and Tly, referencing the cargo of Stateroom A as being part of the manifest for Stateroom B.
Oh, really? Well,
So it's entirely possible that they paid the Kukri to fill that, as it looks like Stateroom B's cargo was completely full with other items. The other thing, Albert has no cargo at all, by the way.
none, you say?
None. According to the manifests, they're...
Interesting.
Yes. And I don't know if you noticed it, but when Sir Cataloko and Ruker were accusing each other of the murder, Tly was very pleased with that. Also, the ship's captain, Maruk, suspects, and it could be a possibility, I'm afraid I have to admit, that Tly may not be here entirely of her own free will.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How so?
Well, something in their interactions between Maruk and the Aslan. And I'm starting to suspect Maruk's past is much more colorful than he will ever admit. He basically said that to him, there's all the indications that she is a slave, or was purchased in some form. Contrary, of course, to the Imperium's laws.
Is she aware of this? Is Tly aware of this?
I have not talked to her yet.
Let us. You should talk to her tomorrow.
Yes,
About many things.
I think that may be the next thing.
Okay, so in the morning, come by our quarters. I'll deputize you, and then you talk to them. I think I need to talk to Maruk while you're talking to them.
So I'm going to assume you have a more current set of files, possibly. Did you get a full set of files on the crew and passengers of the ship before entering, or just the people you're after?
I didn't even get a full set of files on the people we're after. We're on a lark here. Hunches and suspicions. You know the job, sir.
Right. It all depends on if you're on the front lines of gathering the info, or if you're coming in behind.
And this is about as front lines as you can get.
Right. Okay. I will transfer what I have to you. What files I acquired.
What should we? I heard some squealings and good news about our remaining Kukri passenger. What happened there?
We were able to put her on medical fast.
Oh, they have that. Good.
Yes, they have a very well-stocked, extremely well-stocked med bay. I suspect that is Sherie's influence again, especially considering one of those machines I saw in there, I thought only the Navy had.
Yes, Cherie does her job quite well.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she's keeping secrets from the crew.
Oh?
Well, engineer aside, I mean, you know her rank, right?
No, I did not expect to be needing to know this much information about passengers as I boarded.
Cherie. I've done it with the courtesy of not mentioning it at all. If she's got a reason to hide it, I'm not going to breach her secret.
Well, that just finishes confirming to me that she's probably not trying to start a war.
I doubt it. Yeah.
And with what we've shared here, I'm starting to think this was Not a repeat of the meat incident, though somebody may be trying to make it look that way.
Indeed.
To cover that it's all over the antimatter.
And I wanted to ask, I was originally thinking we could use her as bait because she was about to die anyway, but if she's been saved, she may need a guard.
We've locked the door, and
that didn't help her husband.
Sheree is the one who locked it, and we do
He still didn't help her husband. I guess someone stand guard.
Yeah, we have a former Imperial Marine. We may need to swap out guards over the night.
Tell you what, you guys take morning shift. So Fod and I will take first shift guarding. It's camping out in front of that door.
Okay. You don't need to camp out. You don't need to camp out in front of it. You can actually stay in your stateroom. And I transfer the frequency for the bug that is watching the medical bay, and the one that's watching over the common area.
Ooh, nice.
I try to be prepared.
She makes note of this. Just, okay, we'll take first watch and we'll calm you. And she gives her a calm frequency when about middle of the night, so you can take over.
All right, that will work well. Nice to be working with you, Dame Celia.
Nice to be working with you too, sir.
How to character, keep records.
Oh yeah, he has. Julian has the neural mesh,
Also, I'm just saying, like, record this conversation just as a precaution.
Contemporaneous memos.
It's all being recorded and dumped. Standard spook package.
Standard ass covering.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for the conversation then?
Yes.
Anyone else doing anything over tonight?
I guess while I'm helping out in the kitchen with Ruker, and just kind of starting a conversation about, oh boy, it's kind of scary knowing that there's a depraved murderer around. Makes you want to make sure you've got something to defend yourself. I know I've got my stunner here. Do you have anything, Rooker? I'm worried about you, man.
Rooker smiles and just lives.
Well, yeah, but like, suppose you're in your room and someone like tries to come in, and what do you got then?
Rooker smiles more broadly. Do you know how many knives I have in my luggage?
I mean, yeah. I can imagine, yeah.
and you've seen, yes, he has a lot of knives in there. Since you've seen the manifest.
Yeah, I have.
But he doesn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I don't need to tell him.
He doesn't know that you know that.
Yeah, really. Do you like a collector or something, or just like backups?
Backups mostly. Somewhat of a collector. And of course, any Aslan has, and he pops open his Dewclaw, or he shows his Dewclaw.
Yeah. You got right. Natural weapons. I forget sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I definitely, definitely like knowing there's someone who I can, who can have my back if things go really weird or upside down here.
Rooker laughs with a belly laugh. Just, ha! If you need a defense and you need to hide behind me, go ahead. You are my friend.
And you're mine, Rooker. I'm glad.
Has that Klatzhalko guy got you worried?
Not honestly. Klatzhalko, not really. Talai, maybe.
Really?
I mean, I don't want to be a gossip, obviously, but she definitely kind of seems a lot of the time like a kind of pulling the strings kind of person.
Yes, I believe you humans have a phrase, gold digger.
I was thinking more puppet master, but all right.
If she wasn't married, I would almost say that she was trying to attract my interest from the sweet nothing she's been whispering to me.
Pardon?
Maybe I'm misreading the situation. I deal with food more than females.
Sorry, no, that was just more like, wait, she's been whispering sweet nothings to you? Because I assure you that those signals are probably the signals you think they are. I'm just surprised that she's making moves.
But she's married.
Yeah.
And she's a traditional from the Hierarch. Why would a traditional female who's already married be courting? It makes no sense.
Well, unless you question the basic fact there of is she, in a traditional situation.
I am informed she is.
There's got to be something else there, though. But, okay. Yeah, there's just... So, yeah, there's something weird and suspicious about Talai that kind of bugs me. And that Vargar Albert, was it?
Yeah.
You see anything from him?
I have not spoken with him much. Should I have?
No, I'm not going to make recommendations on who you hang out with. We're all stuck on this cruise together for a while, but I don't know. I'm just trying to get a read on everybody, and there's a lot of people I just don't have a clue on yet. And
Yes.
obviously, we're everyone's pointing fingers at everybody about who's the murderer here, but
Yes, I myself have gotten confused signals. I might almost think that Salih and Zafata were married, except I don't think they are.
no, I think that relationship's a lot more casual.
Right. Now the crew, I mean, Crane and Cherie, they are brother and sister, right?
Oh no, they're married.
And Rukur face palms, not stabbing himself. It's just, I thought for sure. I mean, their last name. Oh right, you guys change your names that way.
Yeah, that's a thing we do. This might be an odd... Sorry.
You think that might be a bit of an act. Again, I mean, considering how long he's been around the Imperium and humans, he should have picked up that by now.
I mean, I'm not going to... Like, if he just genuinely didn't pick up on it, I'm not going to, humiliate him.
Okay, go ahead.
And I say, this might be an odd question, but, like, among, like, the traditional Aslan, and I know you're an Imperial Aslan, like, is among the traditional ones, is there, like, a thing about, like, do they take slaves? There's a slavery thing or something like that, or...
Let me think, because I had heard about that. Yes, so long ago, the Hierarch did practice slavery, but that was long, long ago. Since then, there's been a cultural purge. I mean, like, long before anyone who now lives was even born yet. Currently, slavery is outlawed in there. There is a glorious empire. That's what they call themselves, and they're not that glorious, trust me. Who still practices slavery, and the Hierarch are warring with them over that. But no, the Hierarch themselves, they do not practice slavery at this time.
Okay.
This Klatoko, though, he seems, for all his brawn, he seems more bluff than brawn.
Oh yeah,
more bravado.
Absolutely agreed there. And
honestly,
I don't think he'd be like hard to escape from if one desired.
He doesn't seem to be of brilliant intellect, no. Honestly, he's a swindler, I think.
Yeah, but swindlers can kind of swindle themselves into thinking they're all that.
This is true.
I still get the sense that whatever binds Talai to Kitao Loco, he's got to be useful to her for something.
Oh, she's quite useful to him.
No. Him useful to her.
I'm not certain. I mean, what would a buffoon like that be useful for?
I mean, attracting attention?
Distracting enemies?
You know, a fall guy, really.
Someone to pin a murder on, maybe.
Yeah, he'd be real good for that. He'd be real good for that.
Do you think that might be her intent?
At this stage of the game, I don't think I can rule it out.
Interesting. Have you mentioned this possibility to anyone else?
This is literally... You're the one who suggested it.
Perhaps I did.
Yeah, you did.
Make of it what you will.
I mean, I was suspicious of Talai before, and now I'm... The thing is, like, if this was supposed to be a frame job, why didn't we pick out a suspect more quickly?
We have all week.
We do. But a long and thorough investigation could just as easily find the true culprit as a fake culprit, or a setup culprit.
Do we have any investigators on board?
Well, I mean, we've got some spooks, so...
We do?
I mean...
Really? Who are they?
I mean, Julian's an ex-spook, I'm pretty sure, so...
So that is what a spook is like.
Yeah, they're very, they're very nice to speak to, but very thorough.
He doesn't strike me as spooky at all.
Oh, sorry. Spy. Intelligence agents, yeah.
Yes, I thought from that nickname that spies in person were supposed to be like ghostly or vampiric or the like.
That's more
is
like...
That not how you call them a spook?
That's more like when they're on the job, and they're like deep in enemy territory and that sort of thing.
And he is not on the job now.
No, yeah, so he just gets to be a more or less normal person. Also, I think he was like a desk job spy for like the later part of his career, so...
So a ghost-to man's a desk.
That describes Julian pretty darn well. I'd say that's Julian to a T right there.
And he did not bring his desk with him.
I mean, it got all kinds of comms and gadgets, so I'd say that's his desk.
Virtual desk. Fair. Everyone has their gadgets.
Yep. Well, honestly, I've got lots to think about, but you know what, Rooker? I'm going to sleep easier tonight. Thanks for this talk. I'm glad we talked.
You are quite welcome, my friend. Let us speak more tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else doing anything before bedtime?
Just a thought, but now I'm suspecting Rooker as the assassin.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah!
He does seem very talented at throwing suspicion.
Good thing you mentioned that Julian was not on the job.
Yeah.
Otherwise, potential that he might have been disposed of.
Right. So, how on guard are you this night? Do you change sleeping arrangements? Do you double occupy? Who sleeps in which stateroom?
I know I'm in L.
I was in J.
I thought
No, I was in K.
Oh,
Yeah.
wasn't in H?
Right, I'm just saying, do you mix it up at all? Do you double occupy or take any security measures?
I locked the door.
Well, I have a bug. Let's see, where did I place all those?
There should be
Yeah,
one in
the
the corridor,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I have one keeping an eye on my stateroom, which
Okay.
is J. So,
I was gonna say if we do a swap to someone else in that room.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we could all just swap rooms for a night.
I'm gonna stay in K.
Never mind these rolls.
Lovely.
I'm going to.
We're also
No.
taking. Davven's also taking a shift as guarding the medical bay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to Davven and let him know that we're going to keep an eye on it. Middle of the night on,
Yeah.
but we can do it though. We should perhaps not do it from downstairs. We need to be up in perhaps the gaming room. So we'll set it up to meet in the gaming room when Dame Silea goes off shift.
Do we all go up then? Do we all just like share the shift together, or?
No, it'll be me and Davven, and then two of you need to stay sleeping to be fresh in the morning, just in case.
I mean, I'm not a soldier, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so shift change comes, and suddenly agreed to just okay. Yeah, Talai hopped into stateroom A and start and shift some of the cargo over to her stateroom.
So I guess she knows
Really?
the password then.
Yeah, she seemed to just pop up that pop in
By
the
way,
queue
that
combo,
was
let you know it.
because I'm not there.
Oh,
Okay. So
Right, so
I
just,
guess we now know who's.
And just confirm the
Smuggler
bug
is.
saw that.
That's how you saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And Sly had no indication that she even knew about the bugs were there.
Oh yeah.
well, otherwise they wouldn't be good bugs.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay. So
So the
question now becomes.
we should have moved the antimatter.
No. The
No.
question, and this is speaking to Silea. The question now becomes: were the Kukri even aware of what they were transporting, or were they just needing the money, and Tly paid them to transport it, and they discovered what it was, and she killed him?
Out
Well-
of character, it was on the cargo log.
Right. Well, there's no way to be certain now. One of them's dead, and the other's not going to be waking up for a month.
Yeah. Okay.
My gut
I-
says they had too many secrets to not know what they were doing.
I get Davven up, and we go up to using the back one that comes up right by the med bay, the back ladder, and hop into the game room.
Not the one that goes directly to the game room.
Well, yeah, whichever that one is, the one that's in the back. Of
The one that's in the very back does indeed go directly to the game room.
Oh yeah, then we'll go through that one.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
the one on the very back has the airlock next to it, the main cargo bay next to it, and the gaming room directly above.
Okay, so yeah, we'll go through that one so that nobody in the common area would notice we're in there, and then I'll let Dame Silea know that they can go ahead and go to sleep, and
All right.
we'll monitor from there.
You hear a bit of a giggle in the background before she signs off. And then, yeah. And nothing more happens during the night.
Okay.
So, aside, I comment to Davven, I'd heard of those kinds of relationships, but I thought they were jokes. Just, raunchy humor. Never thought I'd see one.
Davin shrugs.
Right. So actually, a little more traveler lore. So there's what's called a Panay relationship. specifically between humans and Vargr. Usually, two different species are at most friends, or sometimes blood brothers. With humans and Vargrs, it sometimes goes a little beyond, but extreme friendship, and doesn't actually even romantic relationships among their own kind.
Yeah.
It has been likened to what happens if a dog could be thankful for all the pets and treatment and could say so. Of course, if you put it in those terms to a Vargr, the Vargr will likely offense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. So morning comes. Some of you are on shift. Some of you are not soldiers and just sleeping in. Because, hey, this is supposed to be a luxury vacation, even with a murder on board.
I don't think I'm sleeping in. I'm thinking my body just wakes up naturally around, 7:30 normal time, and I can't really get back down.
Yeah, and Davven's probably doing the, on watch half doze that Marines and such seem to get, where it's they're able to rest, but they're also aware of what's going on.
I'll probably sleep in a bit later unless someone comes and wakes me up.
All right. You wake up and so morning comes, and Lad, as you're coming by, the smell of sweet breakfast is already emerging from the kitchen. Looks like Ruker's already there.
Well, that's good. That's gotta have our creature comforts. Gotta have food in the belly to get started on another day of investigation.
So we would have seen Ruker coming out of his room.
All right. Maruk is already checking on the med bay. Peeking. He has a code, of course. He's peeking in, assures himself, and then closes it, locking it again.
Okay.
Let's see. Eventually, Silea comes out and just luxuriously stretching, looks around. Just, Oh, good morning. How's the night passed for you guys?
Not too bad. Nothing more exciting than the chef heading to the kitchen to start food.
Yeah, I'll be
Well,
honest.
that is good news.
I was worried about a second murder there, to be honest.
Same.
All
So,
right.
okay, where's the rest of the people on the ship?
Oh, Zizi's still nodding off. Ruker, well, we know where he is. Albert, his realm. The Aslan, and just then the door to stateroom B opens, and Kato marches out until I follows a little sullen. Well, that seems to be them. Merv's right over there, so the only remains are Shuri and Merc interrupts. Yeah, no, they got their morning routine. Don't interrupt them right now, please. He looks a little haunted when he says this.
Okay.
I feel a bit left out.
They're younger than most of us, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
And the records say that they are maybe a year or so newlywed.
Okay, they're not wasting youth. Good for them.
I hate being old. Sorry,
Say that
middle-aged. Well, anyway.
Okay. So as you're just gathering in the game room / outside the kitchen, sadly it takes advantage of the lull in the conversation to step forward and gesture to the four of you. Or wait, no. So one of you still asleep, right?
Yeah, unless how many hours past 7 is it?
Let's call it 8:30.
I'll probably be asleep for another half hour unless someone wakes me up.
Okay. So she gestures to the three who are present. I've been going over the likely suspects, and I fear most of us have potential motive. I can discuss that with you later if you haven't figured it out yet. You, however, do not have motive. You're in the clear, as is your friend. Further, since this jump began and ended in Imperial space, and this ship is registered in Regina, there is no question that we are under Imperial jurisdiction for this entire voyage. Murder of Imperial citizens and guests in Imperial space transgresses Imperial law. On behalf of Duke Norris, I deputize you three and your friend to investigate this and any other crimes committed during this jump.
Why, thank you.
This last line is practically quoting a certain popular video series, save for invoking Duke Norris instead of the Emperor. The implication is she expects more to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since I've been deputized, not since the incident.
Mm-hmm.
Slight whisper something that Klaatko takes his hand and gently pulls him back into stateroom B. This is the closest to affection that you have seen her be to him for the entire trip.
Hmm.
All right, there are too many questions around Talai. And still a couple around Rooker, and we haven't even gotten a single answer about Albert.
Yeah.
So I'd say those three are at the top of our list for whatever our list is.
I think we should all take coffee in the game room with Dame Silea. And maybe Arthur when he wakes up and discuss a few things while waiting for breakfast to be served.
Breakfast comes up shortly. Maruk goes down and wakes up the last wayward passengers. Hey, food's on.
Okay.
I go up and get food.
And yeah, so the party and Maruk are all party of Maruk, Silea, Zofada, and Rukur are all taking breakfast in the game room apparently.
Okay.
All right.
So there have been, well, we all know what has transpired on this trip so far.
There's nods from from Silea and Maruk.
So there are questions as to who might benefit from the death of Leaves the Horizon Behind.
Well,
I'm open to suggestions.
I mean, the answer is Talai and Maruk.
at the moment,
Maruk tries to look surprised.
Just because of the insurance.
Yeah, but that insurance is many years old.
Yeah,
And
but
it
he still gains the benefit.
Well,
I'm not
Maruk,
saying
it
he's
looks
the one who
like
did it.
you always plan to benefit on every single flight, don't you?
Of course I do. I'm a merchant captain. Of course we all do.
yeah,
Yep, he's
it's
an opportunist, not a
it's-
murderer.
Yeah. That's the truest. That's got the ring of truth to it right there. Yeah. All right.
And nobody paid you to make sure certain people were on this ship, or did everybody who come to your ship?
Everybody who came to the ship paid me to make sure they were on the ship.
All right, so nobody asked you to arrange this particular combination of people.
No.
I
Okay.
think he's probably telling the truth there.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely did not mind having the company of a famed chef to exchange recipes with. 2 famed chefs, even.
So if anything, it would be the chefs you wanted on the ship.
Yes, to cook up something a little more pleasant than the current topic of conversation.
Yes.
All right. Assassin, slave, a chef.
Were the rest of us briefed about what Celia told to Julian?
I'm assuming the four of you briefed each other overnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was part of the point of having a night there is just, okay, you all now group mind up.
I feel that Rooker here probably did not kill Horizon, because I don't think he would deliberately damage his own knives.
Real quick, just to be sure.
That
Who
is a
all's in
good
this
point.
meeting again?
It's the four of
So-
us and Captain Maruk and Dame Silia.
And Zafada and Rooker.
Wait, Rooker's in this meeting?
Yeah,
Yes.
he brought breakfast to the meeting, so yes, he's there.
Okay,
All
so I definitely didn't just discuss him possibly being the murderer there. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying to him that I don't think he's guilty of it, because I think he values his knives more than any amount of money, unless Rooker, there is some matter of honor between you and leaves Horizon behind.
Rooker nods, just, that would be logical. There is none, but it's a
Okay.
logical conclusion, yes.
Because I do know that the Hierate and the Imperium both have laws against willful murder of other Siphons.
The higher up, less so, but I am an Imperial.
Yes. Well, so,
And Talai has the package, right?
Did you mention that out loud?
No, I kind of whisper it to Julian.
well, yes, there is the question. So, Rooker, what do you know about Talai? I mean, you seem quite friendly with her. Did you know each other before this trip?
No, I've not met any of them before this trip.
Because I noticed when she came on board, she seemed to want to spend... Sorry, just a second.
Well, Rooker confided in me that she's been rather flirty.
Yes, almost from the time she came on the ship, she was edging closer to you than her husband,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was odd.
Yeah, Rooker nods and just, yeah, she is married and she is traditional. This puzzles me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously she wants out.
Yeah.
What, does she think to take me as her husband?
I
Don't
think
know.
it would be a good start.
I mean, you're a famous chef with a lot of money.
She wishes to marry me for my money and my fame. That's
Hmm.
not the first time this has happened.
Now, Sir Kataloko, unfortunately, is under the impression that his knighthood confers him land. As well as, apparently, he gave up his clan's land to start his merchant enterprise, which I found very surprising for a Hierate Aslan to have willfully given up his land for money.
Merc blinks just, wait. Hierate selling land?
Yes. The Hierate is concerned and asked through some back channels for him to be looked into, as it is very odd.
Lad's brow's just furrowed right now.
And then some of the things we've been hearing about Tly makes me wonder, does anyone know where Tly's from? And when her and Sir Cataluoco got married?
Murdoch shrugs. Just, I was told that they were married in the high. Came from there.
Don't suppose anybody has a copy of the social calendar for the last decade and a half. While Julian says that, he does a quick search on his database.
I mean, if it's something that can be found on the database, then I might.
Do you want me to roll for that?
A copy of the social calendar from the Hierate for the past half decade. Yeah, you wouldn't have that kind of thing.
Okay.
Assassin.
Was it in the information that the Hierate sent when they requested the check on them?
So the Hierate, so that info, that they had been recorded as married a few years ago in the Hierate, was, now that you look at it, surprisingly sketchy details. Like, not even a record of who officiated. There is a record that her father gave permission for her to be married.
Mm-hmm.
It was arranged.
And now that you look at it, it looks like her father was the one who bought the land.
Ah. So he sold his land for it to lie.
Oh, boy.
She's not an actual slave
She
per
is the
se.
business, in a sense.
Yeah.
It was said that she runs the business.
Yeah. You're right. She probably is the business that he purchased.
Yep.
So she may not be a slave, but she certainly feels like she's one.
Yeah. And in a certain twisted way, because the whole, like, the males don't do business thing, that would actually make a certain amount of sense that, oh yeah, I'm going to arrange for this marriage because of the value of this person of this female as a business person. In a twisted sort of way.
Yep. And apparently she... Often the very talented ones end up working for the Aslan corporations.
An asset of the house, yeah.
Don't get married.
Unless some guy is like, ooh, you know what I'm going to do?
How young is Tly? Do we know that?
She is, let's see, do I have that written down? She appears to be roughly 30, you'd guess. You don't have her exact age written.
Mm-hmm. But she's younger than Sir Catalloco.
Actually, Sir Catalloco is younger than she is. By like a year or two.
Really? Okay.
You think.
All right. Curiouser and curiouser, said Alice.
Still, it's like, if it was within the last decade, that would be like right at the cusp of legal age.
Yeah. So, young and talented, and sold off for land. That would certainly make her...
Bitter?
Yes. Could make her bitter.
And she's involved with this whole cargo thing. And she's trying to get out of the marriage. Or trying to warm up to someone else to get out of the marriage.
Yeah.
Perhaps a fallback.
Man, there's too much pointing at her.
There is quite a bit. Were you able to find out anything else, Dame Silia?
Nothing. Nothing since our talk last night. But then again, I've spent most of the night asleep and
Yes.
with one eye open.
Has anyone else noticed anything odd about Fly over the course of this trip?
At this point, I want to know if there's anything odd about anyone else, because other than our Albert friend.
There is the thing that Fly claimed that she had told Katao that his knighthood didn't come with land, but then Katao said that she had never said such a thing. Which could just be not important at all, but...
Yes.
Yeah.
Is she giving him accurate information, or is she misleading him? And, Ruker, what was that argument you were having with Kataloko after we found Leaves the Horizon Behind?
That Ruker snorts just... Kataloko seems to be convinced that I killed the Kukri.
Why would he be convinced of that?
Does he need a coherent reason? I mean, at this point, I'd be worried he'd be coming after me. Dewclaw's at this point, that's a wham! And Kataloko is at the door, bashing it open. Ruker! You murderer! End session.
Hugh Davven. I was going to say Hugh Davven popping up with his pistol.
End session. Next session starts with initiative order. We're in combat time.
Boy.
All right. Well.
Wow.
Uh,
Did not see that coming.
Okay. So we've got...
I figure, given how long it's been, and we're about to enter combat time, this is a good time for a session pause.
Yeah, I'm just like, I've got too many questions, and they're gonna be...
And you're about to enter combat time with those questions, yes.
Yep. All right. Well...
yeah. I was hoping we could have a conversation with Dame Celia alone so I could bring up that I think Albert is a body puppet and Rooker might be an assassin because of the neurotoxin in his Dewclaw.
Wait,
Yeah.
Isn't Rooker, like, traveling to Regina to, like...
Prepare a meal for the Duke.
Well, he's traveling to Regina. He's just standard celebrity fame, so...
All right.
Yeah.
But he may well be preparing a meal for the Duke.
So really, either two of them could be the assassin.
Wait, Rooker doesn't
Or
have
it could be both of them.
Rooker doesn't have a jack. Wait, no.
He doesn't have a jack, but
yeah,
he does have neurotoxin.
But he could be an assassin of some kind. Yeah, okay.
He could be an unrelated assassin. There could be two assassins.
Or could have been hired by the rogue personality.
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, so there's a variant of how this scenario goes where all 9 suspects are guilty.
The clue solution. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the original Murder on the Orient Express homage.
That's
not
also
how
true,
it
yeah.
this one, but that is one way that it can be played.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, I have to admit, like, there's enough stuff here to do and everyone done it.
Yep.
Or is guilty of different pieces.
There's also a scenario play up for what happens if the characters had never been there / are completely inactive and don't do anything. I'll reveal how that goes at the end of next session because that gives away a few minor last spoilers.
That does sound pretty fascinating, actually.
Right. Remind me if I don't get to it when we get to the end of the next session, because next session is going to be the last one for this mini arc.
Yeah. So I have a feeling with that, both of the Kukri die. Rooker and Katao get into a fight, which ends with Katao being killed by the neurotoxin, which leads Dame Celia to figure out to assuming that Rooker is the assassin, what with the neurotoxin.
You're
other
close,
things.
but not. You're close, but you're missing a few minor things that you don't quite have yet.
Yeah.
Like I said, remind me if I don't get to it at the end of the next session, just so we can get on voice what would have happened if the travelers hadn't been here.
Will do.
All right. Well, in that case, thank you for listening to our Spudventures. If you like what you heard, you can find more on YouTube or Libsyn or iTunes or Google Play Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Pardon. We aim to live stream these games every Sunday around 2 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/Newbiespud. If you want to keep up with this and other projects I'm doing, follow me on Twitter. If you want to support my ability to produce content like this, please support me at patreon.com/Newbiespud. See you next time with probably the Forgotten Ones. Next week, I'm probably going to be busy with something else. It'll be the week after. And then the week after that, we'll be back for the conclusion of Murder in Jumpspace.